My name is Matt. I'm 35. I work as a nutritional medicine consultant and account executive here in Austin, Texas. If you look behind you, you'll see the view that I'm inspired with every morning to get out and hike and bike and run and be fit. Love this city as a musician. I play bass guitar and moved here for the music, but ended up finding a career in alternative medicine right here in Austin.
How would you describe your personality? How would your friends and toughest critics describe you?
I'd say I'm a pretty overwhelmingly positive person. I'm definitely an optimist in all ways. Believe anything is possible. I think my friends would describe me the same way. They'd probably describe me as the guy that would give them the shirt off their back. I try to help people in any way that I can. Toughest critics would definitely call me out for being late. That's definitely one of my worst characteristics right there. But other than that, I'd say my friends would agree I'm a pretty driven, motivated person.
What was your upbringing like? Did you come from a lower, middle, or upper class family? Did your family have the means to travel or show you the world?
My dad was a officer in the Marine Corps, so most of my childhood was moving around, which, constantly moving to a new place and having to make new friends. My grandmother did take us over to Europe when I was younger, so I did get to do a little bit of traveling, and I think she planted the travel bug in all of us. Most of my family have ended up, being somewhat of world travelers.
What was it like growing up in the South and from a military family? Do you feel you learned a lot about other countries and their cultures?
Yeah, we lived in the South to a degree, but it wasn't, real South, not like Alabama or anything like that. But we definitely, if you're in the military and you move around a lot, you definitely have to learn how to meet people, make friends, feel comfortable, accommodating to new situations. So if anything, I think that upbringing prepared me to be a good traveler. I would definitely say that's a characteristic. I can definitely travel and not get overly frustrated with every little thing that doesn't go right.
Do you consider yourself cultured, and to what degree?
I would to a good degree. I definitely appreciate good food, good wine. I like learning new cultures. Probably one of the best things that I do is learning foreign languages. In the Army, I studied Arabic and was an Arabic translator. I've studied other languages, French, Spanish, and can definitely get around and get a drink and get directions and several others. So I consider myself at least appreciative of other cultures for sure.
What most excites you about traveling, and what scares you most about traveling?
Scare me, nothing really. Annoying with the security they have nowadays, but it's not really scary or anything. I would travel to any country in the world today, whether it was in a war zone or not. So what excites me about traveling is just seeing how other people live in other parts of the world and checking out their culture and seeing, what do they have going on? Because in the end, we're all humans, we're all interconnected in one way or another, and usually you can find a common thread with people no matter what their cultural difference is with you.
Does alternative lifestyles, practices, medicine play a part in your life?
Absolutely. It's my job. I live it and breathe it day in and day out. The field I work in is alternative or holistic medicine, working with nutrition, but also with detoxification therapies. I moved to Austin and kind of happened into this field, but I had worked for other nutritional supplement companies before. So for me, sharing the experiences, day in and day out, my job, I consult with alternative medicine practitioners all around the country, and at this point around the world. So staying abreast of the latest developments that are going on, helping people, doing clinical consultation. Like I said, for me, alternative medicine is something that I live and breathe, and that is my passion and my career.
Even though you are a believer, do you think there are alternative medicine practices that are all smoke and mirrors, meaning hocus pocus BS?
Most definitely. You can't be all on one side of the fence. There's plenty of quacks that are out there in the alternative medicine field. And there's good reason why people look at a lot of the stuff as quackery. However, there's just as much of that going on in Western medicine. And I think it's pompous and arrogant for Western medical doctors to think that it's not that way. They act as though everything that they do is confirmed by science, when in reality it is not. Half the stuff that is in current practice by Western medicine, allopathic doctors, is just as unproven as some of the alternative therapy stuff. But you know, you have to give credence to the people. There's a reason why people look at it, a lot of it as you know, quackery or smoke and mirrors or that kind of thing, because that does happen for sure. But the potential in natural healing is there to do a hell of a lot more than what's currently going on in the Western medical model.
Do you think alternative medicine should be used to treat serious medical conditions, or would you want to stick with Western practices for serious conditions, ailments?
Absolutely. I mean, alternative quote-unquote medicine, natural healing, all of that, it is just as powerful and potent as a healing modality as anything that is currently accepted by insurance and used as the Western medical model. Cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, people in wheelchairs, you name it, I've seen it in the last 7 years working where I work, all of them healed through natural modalities. And I mean, furthermore, the cancer is like a huge industry nowadays. Radiation, chemotherapy, all of these things, when you look at people that have really studied this, Ralph Moss did a great book on this, Questioning Chemotherapy, that the mean survival time for people doing chemotherapy is actually shorter than the people not doing chemotherapy. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the thing that the insurance will pay for, the thing that everyone is being fear-driven into doing right now with cancer, is actually not even improving their mean survival time. So not only have I seen natural therapies heal cancer and you name the serious condition, the potential for it to be integrated into what everyone understands as part of the healing modality is certainly there. And you're starting to see acupuncture and yoga and some other things being integrated into Western medical hospitals, but there's way more to the picture as far as frequency, energy medicine, and other modalities that should be integrated into part of the care right now. I mean, the fact that they're trying to develop and spend billions of dollars for a cancer vaccine is completely idiotic, because you'll never be able to make a vaccine for cancer. You can't make a vaccine for something, even if you believe they work, for something like cancer. So absolutely, I mean, of course you can.
Do you consider yourself physically fit and healthy? Do you exercise or play sports? Talk about what you do or don't do.
I do. To me, exercise has always been a part of my life. I grew up as a chubby kid, and at a certain point I didn't want to be that chubby kid anymore. So for me, exercise, certainly being in the military was a big push to getting into shape. But I like to run, I like to lift weights. I used to do martial arts more heavily. I haven't as of late, but certainly like to bike. I mean, if it's a physical activity and it's fun to do, you can be sure that I'm down to do it. I love hiking. I like doing some more adventurous things like skydiving, rappelling. But in general, I would consider myself to be a pretty fit person.
Talk us through your everyday diet. What do you eat?
The diet, I mean, there's, especially in the work that I do, I've done a lot of research on what are the optimal diets. And I mean, there's books out there, there's a ton of different opinions, there's, you know, people saying that diet's stupid and this diet's stupid. The best that I can figure out, and the way that I try to eat, is that, I mean, I think as humans we were designed to eat a mostly plant-based diet, plenty of fresh fruits, fresh veggies. You know, if your constitution needs meat, sure. You know, if you need dairy, if it's raw, great. I think limiting the processed and refined foods is obviously a key to being disease-free. Myself, the company I work for, we make a lot of food powders and other kinds of superfoods, so definitely try to start the day with a shake that has plenty of nutrition in it to kind of carry me through the day. You know, like I said earlier, I definitely am a fan of food and wine and a good beer. So I'm all about indulging myself too, but you know, as long as you do things in moderation, I think that's the key, really.
When is the last time you've seen a Western medical doctor, and for what?
I mean, really full-on regularly seeing one was back in the Army, which was, you know, I got out in '98. So it's been quite a while. The last time I think I really saw a doctor, I mean, I have gone to go get blood tests and just get a checkup, if you will. But the last time I actually went to see one about anything kind of major was I got into a little scuffle and broke my hand. which was kind of an interesting story tying into the natural medicine, is that I went out with a friend up in Dallas, and we were met up with some people that were out basically, out having a good time or whatever, and some people kind of started something. I'm not the type to start a fight, but certainly we'll finish it. And in the course of that, I ended up breaking this this finger right here. But it just hurt the next day, and I didn't know it was broken. But I had to fly out for work, and I went to a conference. So of course I'm at the booth, and I'm shaking a bunch of people's hands. And every time someone's shaking my hand, I'm going, holy crap, this is hurting worse and worse and worse. So while I was out there, I asked a chiropractor that I was visiting and working with, hey, would you mind x-raying my hand? So he did, and he's like, yep, sure enough, it's broken. So I was taking nutrients from work to help heal the hand, and then also started doing some of the mud pack therapy, which we'll show later on the video. But essentially, broke it on the Saturday before. Didn't really have a chance to get home and go see a doctor until the following Tuesday. And when I went and saw this medical doctor and he scanned my hand, basically he was like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, but your hand is already healed. So I can re-break it if you want to put it back into its proper place, but it seems fine and you can just deal with it. So, the healing power of using some of these ancient therapies and using the nutrients, to me, it clearly works.